With Server Core, we don't have those same graphical tools that we did with the GUI server. So configuring an IP address can somewhat be intimidating at first, or at least it could appear to be intimidating. So you might surprise you to find out that there is a, well, let's say a pseudo graphical way of configuring Server Core and its IP settings. And this is with a special utility called sconfig. Now, sconfig will let you configure the server and in a variety of ways. And Greg showed you during the installation of the server how to use this. And one of the things it'll let you do is configure the computer name and, when do you want to get updates and remote desktop settings. But take a look at option number 8. It'll let you configure the network settings. So all I have to do is hit the number 8 and I can go right in to start to configure the network settings, my IP addresses by adapter. Now the adapters are going to be listed by their index number, and it'll give you information about the current settings that are on the adapter. If you want to modify or change those settings, all you have to do is type in the index number of the adapter you want to change. So I'll type in 10. It gives you a list of what the current settings are, and you can see I already have IPv4 configured and IPv6 enabled. But let's go ahead and change those as if we had nothing here, or we wanted to modify the existing. You can see that option number 1, set the network adapter address, will let us do that. And the first question we get is, do you want this DHCP or static? Just like with the graphical, one of the first things we saw was whether we wanted to dynamically get this IP address from a DHCP server or statically set it up. So we get the same ability here. For right now, I want to stick with a static assignment, so I'm going to put in an S and hit enter, and then enter in the static address. Now, I don't actually want to change my IP address, but I get to enter it anyways. So there's 192.168.0.104. Then it'll ask me for the subnet mask. Now, it recognizes the 192.168 as a private class C. So I've got a default already there that I can use. So I'll just strike enter, and that is correct. And then I'll put in my gateway, which is 192.168.0.2. That configures the IP address, but I want you to notice it didn't ask me about my DNS server. Now in the graphical, that was the next box down, but in this case, I have to select number 2 to be able to set the DNS servers. And so if I don't want anything, I could hit just strike enter and it'll be blank, but I do want a DNS server for name resolution. So let me put that in. I can also then add an alternative DNS server. In this case, I don't want one. And that pretty much ends the configuration for this. So I can go back to return to the main menu settings and then continue on with any additional configurations. You know, this menuing screen, this definitely reminds me of the old days menuing screen, right? But this can be very helpful on if you're setting up a single server. Now, the commands through PowerShell to set up the IP address, those are very useful when you want to do automation or you want to make a change in larger scale. But for just working with this single server, this takes some of the pain out of it. So go ahead and dive right into your Server Core boxes and get them configured. And keep in mind, just what Greg had said during the installation, this is the default server installation for a reason. It does perform better, it's faster, and it has a lower attack surface. Its security is better. And by managing this and by seeing how to manage this, it makes you more comfortable working with Server Core. So you can see that this wasn't too bad to work with. I can hit 15 and then exit out of this menu and it takes me back to the prompt.